Hi, welcome to Vanessa Loves. I just wanted to pop on because I've had a week of some of the most enlightening conversations, and I've just had a telephone call with a girlfriend. I messaged a girlfriend earlier today, and I've just read an article on LinkedIn from a colleague, Ben Abdi Collins, about raw writing, and the conversations I've had are: how do we help ourselves? How do we soothe ourselves? How do we nurture ourselves when we're in that stuck place, that crap place, that place where we just feel inertia, maybe past pains are coming up? And I find it fascinating that what I tend to experience when I put it out there, it's amazing how many other people have said, yeah, me too. So I just wanted to share with you some of the tools and techniques that we have used, and I say we as in me and my colleagues, my friends, just to see if they would be of any use to you, and the necessity of using these tools when we are in that crappy feeling place. So one of my girlfriends said that what helped her to be authentic and to remove a block was to sit in front of a video, just like I'm doing now, and share with her community, her friends, and on her business page why she does what she does. She used her own personal experience as the reason for doing so. She's not in it to make money whatsoever, but she shared her past pains from her childhood as to how she felt unattractive, how she was picked on because of her looks, why other children were so mean to her because she had freckles. They thought she had a disease. She had no enamel on her teeth, which meant that they looked funny, so she was picked on for that. And this is a very dear friend who has built a successful business in the beauty industry, helping other women feel better and look better in their own skin. Ben Abdi Collins, the article I read and the colleague I saw today, his article was on raw writing. So he found that when he was in a stuck place, and it's a beautiful article, I'll do my best to share it in the comments below, he shared that he wrote to help himself feel better. And this is a really common thing. I mean, I ask my clients to do, and I suggest. It's very cathartic. It's a very therapeutic way of getting out what's going on in your head and dumping it onto paper. So whether you journal or whether you write articles to share your thoughts, that also can be a very soothing, self-nurturing way to express what you're feeling. Because the danger is I find from my experience, when we keep it in our system, that's my dinner ready. When we keep it in our system, when we keep it in our thought process, and we keep it in our bodies without expressing it, I find that it does more damage than good. It's really good to be able to give what's going on for you a voice, whether that is to share it with an audience, whether to share it with a coach or a mentor, or whether to write it down. Give it a voice, give it some energy. And I can guarantee that when you read it back, if you feel the need to read it back, you will learn so much more about yourself, but also the release and the relief that you will feel as a result of sharing what's going on in your head and in your system. Now, the interesting thing is that last week I found myself in exactly the same place, and dare I say it, I fell apart at the seams in a very spectacular and dramatic way. I had a small operation booked for last Thursday morning for a suspect melanoma, so no major concerns. My consultant is pretty confident that it's only suspect and nothing to worry about. But I was here 13 years ago in 2006, and it wasn't suspect, it was malignant. I had been diagnosed with melanoma, and I had it cut out twice because they couldn't remove it all in the first go. Now, the relevance of this is that in 2006, I was in probably the deepest, darkest corner of my life. I was a young mum of two young children. I was living what can only be described as hell day to day for over a decade. Mainly due to circumstances through addiction in the family. And I was really struggling to keep my head above water. This all came, my diagnosis of melanoma came at a time which was, you could probably say back then, was shitty timing. However, I can see in hindsight it was perfect timing. My husband at the time, who was in a very destructive pattern with drugs and alcohol, completely deserted me. I can only assume that he just didn't know how to handle it and was too caught up in his own stuff to be of any support for me. So what came up for me was the fact that I felt completely rejected and unimportant and unloved and invisible, and it was horrible when you're faced with the C word. However much love and support you have around you for friends and family, and I have an amazing family, they're not with you 24/7, you're with you 24/7. And at the time when you wanted somebody to just put their arms around you and say it's going to be okay, and you didn't have that, I had to be that person for myself. So last Wednesday evening and last Thursday morning, I was in a horrible place, and it wasn't nice for my new family either. But what I did recognise is not that I was scared and frightened for this time round. I recognised that I was reliving 2006. So scared and frightened and lonely were the words that came up for me. Luckily, I recognised that I was reliving it, and as a way of coping back then, I suppressed my emotions. I had to. I had two children of 5 and 3. I had a husband that was non-existent and just being an absolute pain, to say the least. So my way of dealing with it and coping with it was to completely suppress it. I got the all clear, and I've had the all clear ever since, and I've been checked up. But it's not until I was facing the operation again that I recognised how I had suppressed all of those horrible, lonely, scared, frightened feelings. And the danger is it manifests physically in your body, and it's not good. So I feel like I've been dragging this weight around now for 13 years without properly understanding why, because I've done a lot of work on myself. I feel I've completely transformed myself and my life in many ways, but I am human. And to experience that pain again was not comfortable. The tool I use, whereas the two I've just shared with you are giving it a voice through video and sharing, or writing about it, mine is breathing and sobbing. So I allowed myself to get in a really snotty, wet mess, and also to breathe my way through it and to take myself out and nurture myself in nature. So as a way of healing, if you allow your crappy feelings, the negative feelings, the feelings that make you feel bad, if you allow them to be truly present, and you can be with your feelings, and you can allow them to come up in any way that you choose, whether it is giving it a voice by speaking it, whether it's writing about it, whether it's breathing your way through it, however you feel, these are the 3 tools that really work for me. If you can allow it to come up and really be with it, there is no need to run from it, deny it, or suppress it, so it cannot come back and haunt you 13 years later. If you feel that you struggle in any way, please do try and use either of the 3 tools that I've shared with you, or if you have any questions about any negative emotion you might be feeling, any shadow work that you feel that needs to be done, please do give me a call. I intuitively guide and mentor and speak about the shadow work, and my program Naked is helping you strip back the stories that keep you stuck so that you can reveal your truest self. Because our shadow is the person we'd much rather not be, and that is it's a crippling part of us, and it's essential to accept your shadow side, the side that makes you feel bad, just as much as it is to embrace the beauty and the light that makes you you. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to catching up with you soon. God bless. Bye bye.